What is philosophy? Well, last time we left off with Mr. Aristotle, and this is what comes from his book, Metaphysics. All men consider philosophy, love of wisdom, right, as concerned with first causes and principles. And he continues, wisdom is knowledge about certain principles and causes. Okay, and the first objection I have is the word cause. That's physics, not philosophy. But I'm worried more about that word knowledge. We're going to find out knowledge not only has never been defined. To this day, no one knows what knowledge is. No one can define it precisely. You can go to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. You can go to the Wikipedia. You won't find a crisp definition that you can sink your teeth on. And whatever definition is there is easy to tear apart. Okay? So we don't have the word knowledge, and they're still, like they say, debating what knowledge is. But here we have Mr. Aristotle, and he says that philosophy is somehow related or based on knowledge. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to clarify there. What do we have today? Well, here you have a definition of philosophy from this is from the Wikipedia. Okay, it says philosophy, love of wisdom, right? Again, they take the Greek term, they translate it, okay, is the study. Very big problem there. Studying should never be used. Study means you're going to study, even if you studied for one day, you went to school for the first day and you sat down in Philosophy 101 and someone asks you, are you a philosopher? Yeah, I'm a philosopher. Yeah, I studied. Oh, you studied what? You got a degree in philosophy? No, I studied for 5 minutes that I sat in Philosophy 101. That makes you a philosopher because you studied. You studied for the test. You failed the test, but you studied, and you're a philosopher. So the word study should be removed completely. You should never use it. Okay, studying doesn't tell you anything, and that's the first issue. It says study of general and fundamental questions about what? Existence. Existence belongs to physics, not to philosophy. First problem. Knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. That's what Wikipedia says. And what does it have as questions that concern philosophers? Is it possible to know anything and to prove it? Very subjective. Okay. What is most real? Again, that's physics. Is there a best way to live? Recommendation. That's philosophy. Is it better to be just or unjust? Justice, law. Is that philosophy? Do humans have free will? That's philosophy. So the issue here is that none of these really represent anything. They're all opinions. They're all subjective. And I thought we were going to make philosophy objective. So this is where we have to look at, because what these people are saying essentially is philosophy is a way of thinking. That's essentially what the definition, this informal definition, comes down to, this popular definition. It's his philosophy. It's Joe's way of thinking. That's what they're saying. We can't use that definition in any old way, because way of thinking means it's just too big, too broad. You got to narrow it down. You got to say, well, what is philosophy? Is it just a way of thinking? No, that's the common notion of philosophy. We can't use that in a scientific way, in a rational way, in a consistent way. That's the problem, okay? And there was someone who came in there also and put a comment similar to that, to what we find in the Wikipedia, and says philosophy. The explanation of, as you can see, he had to put explanation in brackets. Why? Because explanation is not in there. He put it in, he forcefully put it in there. But it says the fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, values, mind, and art, etc. Reason, mind, and art. In other words, he's including all the same things. Everybody has the same notion of what philosophy is. It's got to do with knowledge, with values, with justice, with who knows what. It's a jack of all trades. They put everything in there and say philosophy is everything. Anything you can think about, that's philosophy. It's your way of thinking. And that's no good. That's absolutely no good. We can't use that as a definition, as a scientific definition of the word philosophy, if it's going to be important. I mean, if you're going to mention philosophy as a category of subcategories, this is the major category, the heading, we better define it properly. We have to define it precisely.